Kamigawa Neon Dynasty has just experienced another leak. I have to admit, I'm getting kind of skeptical about these, but regardless, the card that's been spoiled is an insanely powerful dragon. It might be so strong that it's going to need to be banned.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered to talk about some Kamigawa Neon Dynasty goodness. Not only do we have a newly leaked card to talk about, but on top of that, there's a crazy new item that's been created for Kamigawa Neon Dynasty that we'll talk about after we've handled the spoiler cards. So, just a heads up, this is going to be another one of those awful images with very poor quality. In previous videos, people said to me, come on, bro, look at the quality of these images. Wizards of the Coast is manufacturing these leaks. And I have to admit, it's getting to the point where I'm being convinced by those arguments. We're seeing all these leaks, but they're miserable quality. Anyway, with no further ado, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Take a look at the quality of this image. What is going on? It can't be the same person who has access to a huge range of cards taking these dreadful pictures. You have to squint to even make out half of what the card says. So let us dive in and talk about Junji, the Midnight Sky. 2 black and 3 gets you a 5/5 legendary dragon spirit with flying and menace. I had to read this card like 4 times before I even noticed menace because I was so blown away by the abilities of this card. When Junji the Midnight Sky dies, you get to choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and you gain 2 life, or put target non-dragon creature from a graveyard into play under your control. You lose 2 life. This is absolutely insane. There is so much power on this card. Now, full disclosure, I am in no way a meta master, right? So some people are probably going to come along and say, hey, this card's probably a little too slow for the format or whatever. But one of the big arguments that people try to make for why a card sucks, and I'll never really understand this argument, is, well, it dies to removal. Yet virtually every creature does. That's not really much of an argument. Well, there are cards in Magic that can answer that. It's like, yeah, there's tons of answers to everything. But anyways, even the people who like to say, dies to removal, well, guess what, pal? When this dragon dies, bad things happen. Either you're going to lose something, or I'm going to gain something, or both, right? It's really solid. The choice of abilities on this are really great on a creature as a dying effect, right? Like obviously Junji with the 5/5 flying and menace makes it really difficult to deal with. You can't even chump block this guy. You can't just go, I'm gonna throw some piddly little flyer in the way. He goes, nah son, I got menace. I saw the menace and that's when my brain went, okay, calm down. Stop putting so many abilities on cards, Wizards. This is insane. Like, you can't effectively chump block this thing. And when you use removal, like, Junji costs 5 to put out. So by the time you put him out, a number of spells are going to be cast. Nobody's going to be sitting at a full mid of cards. And your opponent's probably going to have to spend some very valuable resources to destroy Junji. And then when they do, one of 2 awful things happens. Either, boom, they lose 2 cards and you're up 2 life, or they go, let me go ahead and grab a dragon, a non-dragon I should say, from anybody's graveyard. Anybody's graveyard. The best dead creature on, like in the graveyard is going to be on the board on my side after you've just used removal to handle a big threat. That's why Junji feels crazy. You've got terrible scenarios where, oh, did you destroy Junji? Okay, great. You know what? Let's make you discard your last 2 cards, and I'm going to gain 2 life and get set up to go further on down the road with this. Or, oh, okay, you destroyed him. Boom. You know what? That gigantic creature that you ended up discarding earlier or that got destroyed, I'm going to take that. Or I'll just go grab another giant threat from my graveyard. Obviously, they had to make the second ability non-dragon because if they didn't, 2 of these would be an infinite cycle, essentially. I'll put out a Junji. I'll play a second Junji. Oh no, the legendary rule says you gotta get rid of one. I'll get rid of one. He dies. I guess I'll take another Junji back from the graveyard and do it over and over, right? So you have that kind of scenario. But this card is fantastic with any creatures that have that, when I come into play, resurrect a creature from the graveyard style ability, right? Because Junji dies, you bring back the resurrecting creature. Resurrecting creature comes into play, brings back Junji. And it just goes on and on. And there's the fact that these do the Kamigawa dragon legendary trick, right? Where you can play one dragon out, then when you play the second dragon, the game goes, gotta get rid of one, and you go, oh no, I guess I'm gonna get to resurrect or make you discard. Like, this is awesome for a legendary creature because there's no downside to the legendary aspect of it, right? It normally means you can only have one in play. Great. You go ahead, play the second dragon. You're benefiting from the legendary rule. I guess if you want to be super technical, having 2 of them on the board would be better than one on the board in the graveyard. But still, you get what I'm saying. Like, the downside of being legendary is heavily mitigated by the benefit of the next ones you get basically just equal, yo, I'm going to make you discard or resurrect, right? Like, I can't believe they slapped Menace on this card. This is absolutely bonkers. Admittedly, I've been part of Magic the Gathering for like 30 years now. So watching the power level of cards go upward, sure, back in the day, we had some insanely powerful cards here or there, but overall, the power level of Magic has definitely been heading upwards. And this Junji card is absolutely nuts. I cannot wait to acquire one for my cube because it is very, very awesome. And I like the artwork too. You've got the sinuous dragon there flying all through the air. And you'll notice that these aren't the original 5 Kamigawa dragons. If you are interested in them, we do have a reference to them in the Kami Dragon Saga card. I talked about that in yesterday's video. So I'll leave that up on the screen in case, at the end of the video, obviously, in case you want to go and check that out and learn what happened with all of the dead original Kami dragons being resurrected, all that coolness. But these aren't those same dragons, apparently. This is a different generation, so I guess there's maybe 2 generations of these dragons on Kamigawa now. We'll have to wait until we get all of the lore information, but to me, this seems like an absolutely bonkers card. The artwork is awesome too, although I am waiting probably until we get like a higher resolution version of it to really get in there and appreciate the art, because all I can really see right now is set against a dark purpley sky. You have this crazy sinuous worm-like body with a mouth opening like in a downwards direction, and there's like purple glowing energy in these different like locations as it's got like Kami objects floating around it as well. But ultimately, I can't fully break down what's going on. Now, I did say I have something else cool to show you, so I'm going to put it up on the screen right now. These are Magic the Gathering Omamori, all right? Now, this is actually a new concept to me. I did not know what these things really were, so I had to take a quick look, and according to what I was reading, the idea behind these is they were originally considered like spiritual icons, religious iconography, that kind of stuff, right? But they've sort of shifted more into a broader sort of cultural thing. So as a result, it's not automatically aligned with religion. So the idea behind these is they're kind of like good luck charms, but good luck charms that are keyed into very particular things, right? So on the screen right now, I'm showing you the one that has a Jace and a Liliana, right? And you got these cute little chibi versions or whatever. But understand, there are a ton of these. I will put like the bigger picture of all these different ones up on the screen. And I have to say, these are neat. They're little tags that you tie on, I guess, onto your backpack or whatever else. But they have little like prayers on them, and they're like magic related. So one of them says, I hope I get a first turn Thoughtseize. One of them says, like, let me be on the play. I want to go first, right? Like, these are very understandable wishes for Magic players. And it's so cool. Like, look at the range, man. You've got like a Johnny in there. You've got Chandra. You've got Jace. You've got Liliana. You've got like Garuk's in there too. Gideon's hanging out. Like, you got a whole range. The image has a lot of tiny little pieces to it, so I can't really pick out everybody who's in there. But this is a really neat concept, and something, I mean, this is something we're not going to get in North America, because if they decide to make these additional promotional items, they'll make something that is more keyed into things that tie into like North American culture overall, right? I have to say, I'm genuinely disappointed that we don't get this stuff. I think it's really neat. For some reason, Japan gets some of the coolest Magic the Gathering stuff around. Maybe it's because I'm like a fan of anime and stuff like that, but the special walkers that they got in War of the Spark, you know what I mean? All that stuff is really, really cool. And sometimes I wish we would get a taste of it too. Just make English versions and hook us up too, man. Like, I would totally tie these little tags to my bag, and I would find ones that aligned up with the kind of wishes that I had for my Magic games. And then when it happened, I'd shake it at him. My talisman has power over you. I am a god. That's probably not how they do it in Japan, but that's how I would do it. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video, my friends. Links on the screen so we can spend some more time together. And a big thank you to all my patrons. See you next time.